Good morning, my name is Tony. These are my group members, Nadia and Ariel, and we have the topic of natural science. We chose to specify on mental illness, specifically psychopathy. So our main question is psychopathy treatable? So basically, the problem is there's no found cure basically now for psychopathy. It's linked to many physical illnesses, so it makes it very important because if we can eliminate this issue of psychopathy, a substantial amount of physical illnesses will also decline, as well as the general population safety. So we know that a lot of world terror is caused by people that have psychopathy. For example, terrorism. Hitler is a good example. He caused fear and millions of deaths. So if we could get rid of or cure or find a way to treat psychopathy, the world would be a safer place. Would have more a state of mind because we can see the example of 9/11. I mean, America is still kind of shook from that. So preventing those kind of issues would be a great pro of finding a cure for psychopathy. So some background info. An estimated 42.5 million Americans have mental illness. This ranges from more severe ones to less chronic ones, such as depression, bipolar disorder, which can be easily treated through pills and medicine, all the way to psychopathy, which is not really treated. They're kind of just put into institutions. And like I said, there's no found cure. There has been different experiments, but so far they haven't found they haven't specified a certain issue with psychopaths to be able to cure what is wrong with them. So a past study, Crockett did a study injecting serotonin into patients. So serotonin is usually used with depression patients because they have an imbalance in the brain, and this usually really helps depression patients. It helps with their mood, social behavior, and their diet. But in psychopaths, this did close to nothing because, like I said, no one's actually sure what is wrong with psychopaths, but this canceled out the possibility of psychopathy being linked to chemical imbalance. And then a man named Hassler injected patients with methylperoxidine. I can't pronounce it, sorry. And these affected stress and adrenaline hormones. I can't pronounce the names. Epinephrine and norepinephrine. How you say it? Norepinephrine and epinephrine. Sorry. So this usually works in other patients, but in psychopathic patients, it did almost nothing. Like I said, they haven't really been able to find anything wrong with them, so it's been untreatable so far.
So for the whole significance of why we think that it's important to treat psychopathy is because obviously mental disorders lead to risk in other diseases, so it would just only seem correct to go ahead and find a treatment for this one as well. The question that we came up with is psychopathy treatable for our proposal, and the hypothesis is if psychopathy is treatable, then disease linked to mental illness will decrease in percentage and general population will be safer. So for our actual experiment, before we did it, we would conduct pre-screenings, and this would have people's background information, if their families had previous history of other mental illnesses or any health problems that could affect our results. And we would also want to have people who were maybe put in jail for psychopathic crimes, and then people who have clean records and such. For the actual experiment, we would have our subjects in a room by themselves, face towards a screen that would show gruesome images and scenes that most people would find horrific. And while they're hooked up to this, they would also have a machine that would scan their amygdala in their brain, which is where we know our emotions are held, and where when we see activity in certain sections of the amygdala, we would go ahead and let go a small shock within these provided areas that were stimulated.
So the roles and responsibilities, we believe that for the researchers, they're responsible for making sure that the research is conducted in a humane way because we are using human subjects. On the development report, we want to use the utilitarian and rights approach because we want to see that all subjects are treated fairly and that they still are within their rights and understand the types of experiments that we'll be conducting. And then we want to make sure that we respect persons, that we are trying to make sure that they keep their that they're being treated the way they still want to be treated, and that everything is still going, that they're aware of everything that's going on. And we also want to make sure that we are trying to preserve human life, and we want to maximize benefits without increasing actual harm. We also want to make sure that this research continues because the impact that it could lead to is the new studies of the brain and conducting to see which types of new activity we find and any type of new research that can be conducted on the brain. Also, this we also want to make sure that for the individual that it benefits them, because most psychopathic people receive a lot of medication. So if they are treated and we can find a cure for it, they'll be receiving less medication, which could and definitely decrease actual harm to them, and then also self-inflicting harm that they could bring about to themselves and others. That is our presentation.